Welcome to the fourth episode of Gibbo Goes One-on-One with my special guest, Brock Motum. Brock, you have a Queensland boy. You went to the AAS like a lot of probably basketballers that have played for the country. College, Worlds for Australia, Olympics. What's going on?
Not a lot, man. Just honoured to be on your podcast, you know.
It's
I've
a pretty
listened to a few
special.
of the first ones.
I know you've talked to me a lot about my podcast. You're like, man, when are you going to get me on there? So you
Don't do that.
you finally got me. Where are you right now? Obviously, you're locked away overseas. No international flights, so you can't get back.
Yeah, I'm in Valencia in Spain, where I've been playing all year, and for the last 5 weeks, just been stuck inside on just like absolute lockdown. So
what are your rules and restrictions you have over there right now?
So just can't leave the house unless it's an emergency. The only shops that are open is a supermarket or the chemist, and so just once or twice a week can leave. If not, just stay inside.
And obviously your league, like every other league, has been shut down. I remember you saying a couple of days ago they were close to making a decision, or they were trying to make a decision on which way they will go. Is there any progress on that? When do you guys think you might be able to play? Do they have some kind of things in place to be able to go and play elsewhere, or what's going on with that in the league?
Yeah, so they suspended it, I think, March 13. And so yesterday they had a meeting, the Spanish league, the ACB had a meeting, and they approved to start playing sometime after May 31. They'll be, as long as the Spanish government permits, like health-wise. So they have a plan to, I think, either go to the Canary Islands or another isolated city that doesn't have a lot of cases or deaths. And they have a plan to play 2 6-team groups, and then semifinals and then finals. And so we'll see if that goes ahead. But yeah, I think they plan to play it sometime in June.
And that will obviously be a shortened season, or how's that work?
Yeah,
obviously the Euro leagues are a lot longer.
Yeah, so this is just a Spanish league. It'll be the 12 top remaining teams, 2 groups of 6, and then the top 2 of each group play each other. And so I think it'll be something like 5 games in the group, and then if you progress, semifinals and final series. And with the Euro League, they're still waiting. They reckon that end of May that they'll make a decision, and they're trying to do a similar situation. But with teams in different countries all around Europe, it's a little bit harder with border restrictions and things like that. So yeah, just waiting to see.
We'll get to the Europe stuff a little bit later on. We'll get to the most important person probably in your life right now is your wife. You met Martina in Lithuania playing overseas?
Yeah, we met. So the first week or 2 that I got there, she arrived as well. She came to work for the club after being away from her home country of Lithuania for, I think, 5 or 6 years. And so it was sort of fate. Yeah, she interviewed me one of the first weeks. And then after that, I just sort of, slid in her DMs, asked her out for dinner. And then, the rest is sort of history.
You charm one her over, huh?
I mean, charm or good looks. I don't know. You pick.
Yeah, she's pregnant, heavily pregnant. Due to pop, anytime soon, within a week, a few days?
Yeah, so he's due May 8th, but, he's pretty close to being any time between now and May. We got another appointment tomorrow, and so I think any day now, between now and then.
How does that go with, obviously, the restrictions? I'm assuming the giving birth is a massive exception. So you guys are set up at a hospital somewhere, like as soon as she's ready to go, you can just kind of drive there, or how does that all work?
Yeah, so we've only had, I think, 1 doctor's appointment at the hospital in the last month and a bit, because usually it's like every 2 weeks now. But they said, everything's fine, just try and limit coming to the hospitals. And then I think it was last week or the week before, they said that no one can attend the birth with a mother. So that was a bit scary, but now that's all been changed. And so just head to the hospital, probably have to mask up, and then just wait.
You probably your best mate, I'm assuming, Brendan Tees. His wife is also due very soon. Are you guys in like a little bit of a competition to see who can give birth first?
I don't know about give birth first, but I think once I told him the news, he got to work, and then now we're having babies at the same time. It's pretty cool.
And do you know the gender? Did you find out what you're going to have, or you want to wait to make it a surprise?
No, I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait. As soon as the doctor had the little piece of paper with if it was a boy or girl, we went straight down, popped the balloon, and blue ribbon came out. And I feel like Ronaldo when he scored a goal now. That's the goals going off.
Now, I'm sure as a first-time father, you'd be happy with either, but you must have been super stoked to find out you're going to have a little son.
Yeah, happy with either. Of course, the first one, boy or girl, I just had a small preference for the first one being a boy because, that's just how it is.
And names? Any names? Adam or?
Adam's a good one. Maybe if it was a girl, but for names, we got a couple, but just gonna wait to see what he looks like. Make sure he suits it.
Obviously, like every basketball, you love working out. Not being able to do a lot at home. I seen you got a few dumbbells, and I seen Martina try to put like a basket up on the side wall to like make a little hoop and stuff. But have you been able to do a lot? I know you're skipping and stuff at home, but is there a lot you can really do?
I mean, the club was pretty good. They brought around an exercise bike, some dumbbells, and some bands and equipment for that. I just, there's not a lot you can do in an apartment, but lucky I got a bit of a balcony. So the other day I ran 3Ks, I think 300 laps up and down the balcony, but just trying to do things to keep myself in shape and, entertained and fit, but just trying to stay ready for when the basketball season starts up because, I don't know, there's a lot of risk for injury and a lot of things like that. So just trying to stay in best shape I can.
It must help. Martina, she's done some stuff online, some like videos, like home sessions online and stuff. I don't know how much she's doing now. That must help. Obviously, having a partner that's fully committed to that, I guess, fitness type industry.
Yeah, definitely. I think she probably is a bit more into it than I am. If I had my way, I would, off days just hang on the couch, do whatever. But I come home from practice and she's, oh, let's go for a walk. Let's go for a bike ride. So now she can't do a lot, but she's just bossing me around to stay in shape, which is probably good.
And like everyone, you're probably going insane. I see she's started up a little TikTok account. Are you going to get involved in any of that kind of stuff, or you're?
She's tried to get me into a few of the videos, but I think she's a bit more charismatic than I am, so I just try and feature in the back, But hey, it's pretty cool. It keeps you entertained, so it's a bit of fun.
And then obviously with her background and you playing overseas for a long time, have you learned any of the Lithuanian language or any kind of, I guess, European language being over there and playing over there for so long?
Yeah, I think I learned a fair bit in Lithuania. In saying that, I probably wouldn't be able to spit any out right now. Like you're probably going to put me on the spot. But in the locker rooms and things like that, when she's talking to her parents and when they're around, I can understand pretty key words in the conversation. I can pick up the gist of what they're talking about, but I can say, the basics and things like that. I took a few lessons via Skype, but just trying to learn piece by piece. But definitely when the baby comes, I need to learn pretty full because I reckon I might be talking a bit crowded out me and I need to make sure I understand what they're saying.
Do you think it'll be more English language or a bit of both?
I think a bit of both. I think obviously for me at the start until I fully learn Lithuanian, it'll be all English, but I'll try and be supportive as I can in terms of me providing a Lithuanian side as well. But I think it'll be very useful for our kid to have, 2 languages to be able to know. I think it's a huge advantage.
Obviously growing up in Queensland, I asked Paddy Mills this. I know, well, we've talked about it because I obviously go for Queensland as well. The whole Origin atmosphere, getting behind the Queenslanders, those games, you've been to a lot of those games. How good is it growing up in Queensland? I guess being a part of that whole atmosphere, and that'll kind of lead me later on to the crowds and atmosphere you're playing over there. But how good is that kind of thing being in Queensland and being around Origin?
Nothing better, man. Nothing better than those Origin games. I think growing up, I don't know, the New South Wales was sort of probably pretty strong then. They had like 3 in a row. And they were, had the bigger names that always growing up in Queensland. My parents went for Queensland. My sister was just, you go for the Broncos, you go for Queensland. And it's just, something you look forward to every year. I try and get to one Origin every year in the off season, and yeah, I love reliving all the games, watching them during when I'm working out. Just get inspired by all those guys. They are like heroes. So yeah, I love supporting the Maroons.
And it's obviously a lot of fun, especially when they went on that like eight-year win streak, to talk shit to guys like Anthony Petrie and these diehard New South Welshmen.
The thing with Peach is he grew up in Tenterfield, which is so close to the border of Queensland, and he could have had so much joy in his life, you know. And I told him every year, I told him it's not too late to switch, but I don't know. He stuck true with the Blues, but I don't know, I think he would have had a bit more joy in his life if he was a Queenslander.
Did you play any other sports growing up besides basketball?
I played a bit of volleyball in high school. I think I went on to play in the All-Australian team. And then I had a chance before I went to the AIS for basketball. I got offered a scholarship there for volleyball. And I debated it, but I'd only played a year and a bit. So I thought I'll keep working on basketball, give it a bit more of a chance. And then Marty called, and within the next year I was down the AIS for basketball.
Where did he pick? Did he obviously, like the rest of us, from state tournaments, or how did the whole invite to the AIS come about?
Yeah, so I was part of the QAS, and a lot of my class. So it was like Mitch Young, Jordan Page, Nathan Crombie, Christian Selicic. I'm probably forgetting a couple guys, but all those Queensland guys left in 2007, and so it was just me and Teasy left in Queensland to work out. And then I was just really motivated when they all left and I was left behind. And then the following year, I got picked up to go down there, and it was awesome.
Do you guys win nationals representing Queensland?
Yeah, in under 20s. We were the favourites, I think, from all through juniors, and then we finally managed to pull it together in under 20s. And I think we beat Cadiz team by, I think, just 48 in the final or something like that.
48?
Cadiz. Yeah, something like that.
You must have been sick or had a holiday or something. That's a beatdown in a grand final.
Yeah, we had a pretty stacked team, and Shane Froling, our coach, he let us do what we do. So, yeah, it felt really good to finally win one.
Did Frost teach you how to throw a few elbows and do all that?
I don't know about all that, but he definitely had some stories when he threw elbows. He's a endless story man.
Do you think that's where? Do you think that's where Harry gets his little aggression from?
I think it's definitely in his DNA. Yeah.
So you're at the AIS for two years, and then you chose college. Did you have any kind of NBL opportunities to stick around, or you just always wanted to go to college?
I always wanted to go to college. I had committed to Washington State before I even went to the AIS. And then when I got to the AIS, obviously a few more colleges came recruiting, but I stayed with my commitment to Washington State and ended up going there August 2009 after the Under-19 World Champion.
How did that, because most guys go to the AIS and then they get, I guess, offers. How did the offer come before you got to the AIS?
We played Under-18 Nationals in Tassie, and there was a few scouts there. And I got just put into contact with Tony Bennett and Ben Johnson. And then they flew over to Brisbane and they said, look, you missed out on going to the AIS. We'd like you to come over to Washington State a year early. And then I committed to that. And then I went to the AIS, so I pushed that back a year.
So obviously at Washington State, were you there with Aaron Baines at the same time? You guys crossed over?
No, I got there the year after he left.
Okay, and obviously one of your teammates was Clay Thompson, probably one of the best shooters to ever play in the NBA. Let's talk about him, because he's a great player. I know you guys still keep in contact fairly well. Super laid back. We don't see a lot of him, I guess, off court. We only see what he does on the court. But what's he like as a teammate and a mate?
Yeah, he's a great guy, man. Really humble. It was pretty clear all through the college days that he was going to be, a star. Probably not to this level of superstardom, but it was always clear that he was, a notch above the rest of us. And he was just really humble. And I think everyone knew except him. He just sort of went about his ways and didn't really give a damn about anything. And nothing really fazed him. And, yeah, it was pretty cool to be his teammate, to see how he worked and how he's gone on to be this big.
He looked like he's super laid back, and like you said, nothing bothers him at all.
Yeah, not a lot bothers him at all. He comes off like that, and then he'll just do some things like China clay and things like that. Where I saw that, day in day out, and you just be like, like where did that come from? So he's a great guy and definitely a lot of fun. But yeah, it just looks like nothing ever fazes him.
Does he just naturally a good shooter, or did he spend a lot of time at college kind of working on his shot, or how much did he shoot per week to kind of get to
I
that
guess his
level?
his dad being Michael Thompson, obviously former #1 pick above Larry Bird. And I think that probably helped growing up around basketball, around the Lakers, around all that sort of stuff, having a basketball background. But I think he'd go into because you have access to the gym 24/7. He'd be like, "Hey, Brock, what are you doing?" It was like 9, 10 o'clock at night. He's like, "You want to go shoot?" Okay, so he'd go up and just put the music on, and he would just be there for an hour, hour and a half doing his little shooting routine, and go home. And that was really what opened my eyes to like, okay, this guy, he's good, but he works as well. So it was pretty cool to see his work ethic and try and emulate that kind of like that.
He doesn't seem super athletic, I guess, watching from the outside, and he doesn't seem super quick. But then just certain moments, like he'll get up and throw one down, or burst of speed. Is that just because his persona of being so laid back that it just doesn't look that explosive? But it probably is there.
Yeah, I guess he's pretty deceivingly quick and athletic. He's got long arms, and I guess because he's such a good shooter, a lot of guys just pigeonhole him into that, and then play a bit too close, and they'll just drive by and throw one down. And you just think, where'd that come from? But maybe he's just got long arms because I'm not going to give it to him. He's got bounce.
And then, so you were at college for 4 years, but you left early, right?
Yeah, I left right after the Pac-12 tournament my senior year to go get ready for the NBA workout.
And then you were studying. Let's talk about. So you were doing a psych degree,
Yep.
and you left early, so you didn't finish that. Talk about
hmm
how you left, and then you went back to finish it.
Yeah, so I left, I think it was March, and I had that semester plus I think 1 or 2 more classes to finish. And I thought, I'm going to get ready for the draft. I'll finish it later. There's, no problem. But
Typical athlete, think
it,
just leave,
yeah,
go play ball, earn money, and not worry about school.
that's what I thought. I thought, what are the chances that I'll need a degree? Hopefully I'll go pro, I'll get money, and I'll be good. And then after my first year, I played in Italy, and I thought, like, every time I had a bad game, and by the end of the season, I was like, I don't know if I keep doing this basketball thing. I think my career might be over. Like, I was so down and not playing well and just in my own head. So I quickly organized how to set up, how to finish my degree. And then within the next year and a half, I finished it and then got my bachelor's degree in psychology.
So you did that just online. How did you finish that? Just online type
Yeah, I
stuff.
just got back into touch with the school, and then they organized just online classes to finish, just to complete my degree. So yeah, that was lucky.
So that was obviously your first pro career. Obviously, not being at home in Australia. Obviously, America, Australia, very similar kind of living. Going to Italy, you probably didn't have anyone there, no family. Do you think that made a massive impact on why you didn't play so well, or you just weren't used to playing against men, or why do you think it was such a bad first up pro season?
I think it was a combination of all of them. I think, first pro year playing with men, playing with professionals, you come from an environment in college where, it's sort of like, okay, the upperclassmen get the ball, like they have more leeway, they get the plays. Whereas as a pro, it's just like you're in a team, but it's sort of every man for himself because they're all trying to play well to make sure their job's secure. And they don't really care about you. They're just trying to look after them. And as long as the team wins, everything's good. And so I had to learn that pretty fast. I had some pretty savvy vets in that team. I played with Casper Ware actually in Bologna. And I think coming from college where, I played 37, 38 minutes a game, averaging 22 a game, and then coming to Europe where it's almost unheard of that anyone averages over 20 a game. So I think in my head, I was so attuned to, okay, if you score 20, 7, 8 rebounds, you're having a good game. And then I'd get over there and I was scoring 10, 11, 7, 8 a game. And I thought, no, I'm playing terribly. But now I've been over here a few years. You look back and, okay, if you can score over 10 a game in Europe, you're doing really well.
Well, that's a massive difference, right, from every other league besides, I guess, Europe. Is if you have, like you said, if you have 10 points and 5 rebounds, that's a big game because it's a real slow style. It's like pass it around, don't take bad shots kind of system, right, compared to the NBL, the NBA, college.
Yeah, definitely. I think the NBL, NBA, college really up and down, up tempo, like pretty free flowing. Whereas over here, especially in the EuroLeague, it's really precise. Like a lot of shots are towards the end of the shot clock. You run through a whole play, and there's just not as many shots. And defenses and scouting is of a very high level. And so, yeah, if you get 10 points, 5 rebounds, I'd say that would translate to 25 and 10 in any other league.
Explain the difference between Euro Cup, Euro League, and the domestic leagues because they're not the same thing. Like they're all completely different, right?
Yeah. So I think the common perception of people outside of Europe that don't really understand is that if you play in Europe, you're playing in the Euro League. Like, he went over to play in Europe, I play in Euro League. I think it makes sense, but you're just playing in Europe. The Euro League is like the top 1 or 2 teams from most countries in Europe. And then, so you play that separate competition during the week. And then on the weekends, you'll play your local, like we'll play the Spanish League on a Sunday and then the Euro League on a Thursday. And then the Euro Cup is sort of the second tier from that. The winner from the Euro Cup each year gets a wild card to the Euro League. And so the Euro Cup is probably the 3rd, 4th, 5th best teams in each country put into that.
So therefore, I guess that's a lot of travel, right? If you're traveling from all different kind of spots, like what's the furthest you'll travel? And it's not always by plane, right? A lot of times it's by bus.
For us this year, we've been pretty lucky. We got a charter for all of our EuroLeague games. So the furthest we would probably go is maybe Moscow. And I think that's 4 hours. But you leave the day before the game, you play that game, come back that night, you probably have a shoot around or something the next day, and then you got to get up and get ready for the Spanish League game. And so the weeks go by pretty quick. But it's definitely a lot of travel.
So obviously without the coronavirus, how many games do you think all up with all those different leagues throughout the whole week, do you think you would play in one season if you were overseas?
I'd say total, close to, not including the preseason, maybe 70.
That's close to, basically NBA. And it's a long season, right? It's like, I remember like our season gets done here fairly quick and then you guys are still playing for another 3 or 4 months. Like it's a long kind of drawn out season that goes basically over 10 months.
Yeah, over 10 months. We get here in August for preseason and we start playing end of September, start of October, and then we finish up middle of June.
How do you like the lifestyle and living, like being tough? Obviously, so you're in Italy. We'll come and touch on the NBL. So you're in Italy, Utah, Adelaide, then you've been in Lithuania, Turkey, and now Spain. Do you have a favorite out of those? Like how hard's it been adjusting to, the different languages in each different place, different styles of basketball, potentially coaches, everything. How's that been moving around and dealing with all those different changes?
Yeah, I think initially it's always a bit of an adjustment when you move to a different city, but it's been good, man. I enjoy getting cultured, discovering different parts of countries, and I've been very lucky to live in some beautiful places. And I think the toughest bit is just you're not really able to buy a lot because you can only really live with 2 suitcases the whole time, because at the end of the year you think, okay, I need to pack all this up into 2 suitcases and who knows what will be next year. But I think favorite basketball wise is probably Lithuania, just because the environment there is, every game is close to 15,000 fans and it's a world-class arena. So that's probably my favorite basketball wise.
And the wife?
City wise. Yeah, small detail. I met her there, so that made all those memories a lot better. And then probably city wise, Istanbul was an unbelievable city. It's got like the population of Australia in just one city, and it's spread over 2 continents. And yeah, it's got everything you could ever want. And only problem there is that traffic was nonstop, 24 hours a day. But Istanbul was an amazing place to live.
So let's go back to the whole origin atmosphere and crowds and European crowds. Obviously, people see the soccer and stuff and the flares. Like that happens in basketball stadiums, right? The whole everyone jumping around, kind of like a college atmosphere. How good is it playing in some of those? There've been some scary moments, you know, any kind of riot type stuff you've been a part of, or, you know, trying to get onto buses and from hotels to stadiums, or any experiences kind of like that?
Yeah, the atmosphere in some of these games is unbelievable. I think, like you said, mentioned about the soccer atmosphere. I think majority of the big basketball clubs have soccer clubs, so all their fans are just basketball fans as well. So they're sort of the same people. The atmospheres, I think, the best would be, you know, Turkey, Serbia, Greece. Some of those games, unbelievable in terms of like the fans and just how loud they get in times of the games. It's pretty cool. I remember my first year playing in EuroLeague. We played in Karşıyaka, which is a club in Turkey, and it was sort of my first experience to like that kind of environment. And just, I don't know, it's only a small gym. I think it holds maybe 7,000 people. But if the capacity was 5,000 or 6,000, there would have been 7,000 or 8,000 there. And the whole game, like every time out, there was just riot shield police with these big shields just facing the crowd, lining the whole court. And I think we won by like close game. And then the last time out, these police were just holding their shields. And after, you know, we clapped to the fans, I was out of there. I wasn't waiting around. The warm-ups, you know, they got their flags and they're trying to poke you, and the police are just holding them back. But yeah, that was pretty cool. And then playing in Athens in Panathinaikos, they have some pretty crazy fans as well. You just look over your shoulder at the bench and you see a wave of green jumping up and down with their green flares, and yeah, it's pretty cool to be a part of.
Is that the Turkey League final you were telling me about?
No, the Turkish League final. That was last year when we played against Fenerbahce. It was I think them and our team had a pretty big rivalry during the year, and they were, you know, the top team in Europe all year, and then we knocked them off in the Final Four. And then we played them in the Turkish League final, which was the best of 7.
Best of 7?
Yeah, best of 7. And throughout that series, you know, our coach of FS was a former Galatasaray coach, and so they have a pretty big rivalry from back then. And so every time he walks into the gym, you know, their fans are chanting things that I couldn't even understand, but what I was told through the Turkish guys, you know, things about his family, things about like all these crazy things. They slashed his tires after one game. And anyway, so he says to the media, our FS coach, I will not continue to coach if these fans continue this, you know, abuse of me. Like, you know, imagine like 11,000 fans screaming all these things about your wife, your kids, all this stuff. So anyway, the league doesn't do anything. They warn them and they say, look, if you do it one more time, then you'll have to play without fans for the last game. So this dude walks into the warm-ups. You know, we're all warming up. The fans are there, obviously chanting. This dude walks in with headphones, just sits on the bench. The coach sits on the bench until the game starts, just with headphones going like this. They're all chanting like crazy. And I was like, man, this guy's a gangster. And then after game 7, he said, look, if they do it again, I'm out. So the Turkish League said, okay, we're going to ban Fenerbahce fans from coming to game 7. None of them are allowed to come. So we get to the game day, and then the Turkish League says, we're going to suspend this ban until next year, and we're going to think about it all then. And so the coach gets so annoyed. He goes, okay, no problem. So there's supposed to be 6,000 seats at the Fener fans are supposed to come. He says, I called my old Galatasaray connections, and I'll have 6,000 Galatasaray ultras come to the game, and they will dress in our shirts, and we'll scream on Fenerbahce. No problem. So we come in, And it was just the craziest atmosphere I've ever seen. Game 7, we had 10,000, 6,000 of their fans that don't even go for us, but they were just hated the team that we were playing so much. They just, yeah, we ended. Shane Larkin went off and we won by 30, but it was one of the craziest environments I've ever been a part of.
I'm assuming that would happen a fair bit because those coaches kind of chop and change from teams a little bit, right? And players and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. They get around, and I think their reputation sort of follows them. But, once that coach has a bit of success with your team, then the team's fan base becomes a huge supporter of them.
And you're in Spain now. I think we played against Valencia, or we're in Valencia for one tour somewhere. How long you signed there for? And obviously you don't know what's going on with this virus stuff, but I mean, what are your goals with that team?
Yeah, I signed here for 2 seasons. There's an option for next year, so we'll see how that goes. Obviously, it's a bit all up in the air with this virus at the moment, but yeah, we'll just try and focus on finishing out this year and then look to the future when this is done for sure.
My guest from last week, Brad Newley, asked if you eat at Saucy Marcy. Is that what it's called?
Saucy Morsey. Yeah, I've been there a couple of times. A few of the guys recommended that. I forgot Newell's played here.
Newell's has played everywhere. So yeah, he wanted to know about that. So obviously you came to Adelaide or NBL for that one season. Can't remember who got injured. You came in to replace whoever it was. Tell me about your first start. Your first 7 games start in your NBL career.
Yeah, so I got there the first day before I signed. I think DQ.
Yeah.
He took me out for dinner, and then we went out a little bit after, and showed me the apartment and stuff, and took me around in his car. And then 2 days later, that was my car and my apartment. So that was a bit of a rough introduction to DQ. And then we first 7 games in Adelaide. Pretty rough. We had, I think we went, I don't know, 0-7, something like that, roughly. But I think, I don't know, Creaky was injured, imports, it was still getting used to everything. So I was just, I think, bad timing that I arrived there. But
yeah, I think Creaky done his Achilles, maybe, or Creaky was definitely out.
He's coming back, yeah.
Jamal Wilson, I think, was kind of a little hurt, or he missed a game right when you got there. But yeah, we definitely went 0-7. Then after that, I feel like we had some team meetings, some chats, and then we went on a 10-game win streak.
Yeah, I think it was just that first 7 games, everyone just got, acclimatized to each other, customized how we all play. And we had a few meetings, a few tough practices. And then, once we turned it on, it all clicked, and we were pretty hot from there.
Have you had any tougher kind of sessions than with Joey? Have you had any coaches that kind of put you through, like, with after bad games or bad losses or bad stints, to really test you mentally, I guess, on the court?
Yeah, in Turkey with I think last year and the year before, when we'd lose a game, we'd, if we played at 5 o'clock, the game finishes at 7. If we lost a game we shouldn't have lost in the Turkish league, he would come into the locker room and say, okay, be in the practice gym in half an hour. So we'd have to go to practice right after the game. We just run, bit of shooting. And then the next day we'd have 3 sessions, all taped. And so I wouldn't say that's, beneficial for the players or if it's good or bad, but definitely didn't want to lose the next couple of games because you had that in the back of your head. So that was probably the tougher sessions, but Joey's sessions were probably pretty up there as well.
How did you find going from, I guess, a European style to the NBL style? Because obviously, the NBL, you get, the guys that you want to score get a lot of shots, get a lot of, want to score high points, 20, 30 points, put up numbers, compared to, obviously, Europeans are a lot different. How is that kind of adjusting? Do you think that, I'm not saying it was your fault we lost the games because we all played bad, but do you think it was just adjusting to that different style?
No, I think when I got to Adelaide, it was like all the reins that were stuck on me in my first season just sort of got broken free. And then I was back to free-flowing basketball, We played very high tempo, up tempo with Joey, a lot of up and down, and I think that suited my style and definitely gave me confidence going forward in my pro career.
So obviously we went 0-7 when you started, then we went on that 10-game winning streak. We made the finals, and I think you fractured your leg, or can't remember what you did. You played in the finals. Obviously, I think New Zealand ended up sweeping us 2 straight games, and we got knocked out of the finals. I feel like we had a team that could have gone a little bit further if we had been healthy. Like, how was that dealing with? Because I remember there was some questions about, oh, is he injured? Clearly you were. How was it dealing with all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it was just really bad timing. It was the second last game of the year. We played Perth, I think, in Adelaide. And the last minute of the game, I just got a little knock on my leg. And, it was a lot of pain. So, I went out, iced it, sat out the next game against Wollongong, I think. And then, I thought, okay, if it's just, it was just a hit. It shouldn't be anything too bad. Got an x-ray, was told by the doctors, it's no problem. It's just a cork. I said, okay. So I just tried to tape it up and put a bit of deep heat on it. And then tried to run, tried to play. And I couldn't sleep, couldn't do anything. But I thought, okay, it's the finals. We'd gone through so much that season. I wasn't going to let anything hold me back from playing in the finals. So, yeah, I played, and probably looking back, I shouldn't have. But, after playing all year with the guys, I didn't want to sit out of the most important time of the year. But then, yeah, that was really hard to play in that through the pain. And then obviously to lose that series was really disappointing. And then to find out that I'd broken my leg a couple days after the season was really tough news as well.
Have you had any kind of major injuries besides that one?
No, touch wood, just a couple rolled ankles, but I've been really lucky.
Tell me about your your addiction to shapes. Now, I remember the first time, I don't know when it was, but I think when you got to Adelaide, we had like a video session on the couches in the playroom or whatever, and we were just kind of sitting around and we just hear like this crinkle of a box and like the bag open. Here you are just hooking into some chicken crimpies. I don't know what it was, but is that like just you just like to eat them, or like a superstition type thing, or how do the shapes come around?
Oh, I got heaps of superstitions, but that's not one of them. I just love them. I think also Joey sessions, we'd watch the whole game, so it lasts like 2 hours. So by the end of it, I'll be starving. So I just have a pack of shapes there, get me through.
They've definitely, they used to go for a long time. Also, your beautiful wife told me you like to eat lollies before the game, and then at halftime you like to hook into some more lollies. Is that a superstition?
Yeah, for sure. I think since college, I think I've had a little superstition of having them, and I don't know if it's whether it's in my head or not, but just have a few lollies right before I run out, and then a few at halftime, just to keep the energy levels high. But yeah, try and change it up from game to game. If I have a couple of good games, I'll keep the same pack of lollies and then roll with it until I don't have a good one and change it up.
One superstition that I hate you for, is because I do it now, is every time you walk past a switch on the wall, if it's turned on, you got to turn it off. And now I do that. So everywhere I go and I see a light switch on, if there's nothing plugged in, I'm turning it off. Where did that come from? And do you have any others? I know you got probably a bunch more.
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I have I had a little bit of OCD throughout my life and throughout my career, and that's been pretty tough at some points to deal with. I think once you're in a good rhythm or something, you just try and I try and don't change anything. I'll eat the same thing for breakfast. I'll wear the same clothes. I'll obviously washed, but same clothes to games, and same shoes, same everything. So yeah, I think there's little things like that. Like things have to be straight. Obviously, the PowerPoint's really nice over here. None of the PowerPoints have the little switch, so I'm just at complete ease. But yeah, that definitely gets on me.
There's ones where I have to have the volume on like an even number.
Even? Oh, for sure.
Even number. Yeah. I always got to put my right sock on, then my right shoe, just so I get off on the right foot. Like there's so many that I do. Like the
Yeah.
light switch was just another one to add to my list.
Yeah, many of those. And I have another one that's got to be pretty expensive is that I wear Kobe's in every game. And so I had this specific model of Kobe sixes. And for me, the greatest shoe that's ever been made. And I had probably some of my best games and best years in those shoes. And so I've tried to buy those whenever I can. Obviously, they don't make that model anymore. So, you have to go on shoe collector sites or these crazy rare sites where people, just collect them and keep them in their bedrooms or sell them for crazy premium. And so here I am wearing these shoes, so $500-$600 I have to buy them. And then because they're so old now, I wear them 1 or 2 games and they just blow out. So I'm lucky they're starting to bring them back out again. But for a while, that habit got a little bit expensive. But yeah, they're great shoes.
Well, a question someone had was, what is your favorite shoe? So that is the Kobe 6 is your favorite shoe?
Yeah, I'd say my top 3 would be the Kobe 6s, Kobe 4s or 5s, and then the old school Hirachi 2K4s.
How many? I mean, the Kobe 4s were mine. I had a bunch when they came out, back when they first came out, and I didn't load up this last time because I'm an idiot. So that was disappointing. But how many do you think you have now? Like, do you wear them for practice or just in games? You wear the 6s to try and save them, or?
Yeah, just in games. I try to get a pair of low hyper dunks or the new Giannis shoes for trainings, but yeah, I just try and save them for games. I think I have last year when they got re-released, I think I bought 12 or 13 pairs of the Kobe 4s, just to last me a couple of years just for the games.
A bit away from basketball, you have interest in investments, and I mean, like you said, after your first year when things kind of hit the fan, you thought basketball wasn't going to go that way. You went back and finished your degree. You're kind of interested in investments and financial type things?
Yeah, I think in the last couple of years, it's really interested me. Just the fact that if you just keep your money in the bank, it's, losing its value. And so I just started to research and read and ask around a little bit about different investments and different vehicles that you can do to grow your money. And I just like, keeping up to date on economic things around the world and different sort of investment opportunities and learning about things. And yeah, I guess just money in general interests me and sort of keeps my mind in a balance away from basketball. So if you don't want to just think about basketball 24 hours a day, I try and keep my mind occupied with other things like reading about finance.
One of your good mates, and I love playing with him, is Cam Bairstow. Is there anyone? Do you know anyone that researches more than him or knows more than him about everything?
No, I don't know anyone. I think if I have any questions, I think he might know more than Google. Instead of Googling, I'll just call up Bairstow and say, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And it doesn't matter what you ask him. You ask him about Mormon religion. You ask him about Bitcoin. You ask him about any kind of muscles or body. You pick a topic, you name it, and he will have the most in-depth, research-backed answer you can ever find. He is like number one source of information that I have.
It's elite. I just ask him questions and I'll be like, all right, I got to go because he just have that much information. It was, he has quite a skill.
Yeah, I was roommates with him for a lot of our boomers stuff. And I think the off seasons I spent with him, I would learn more than my 12 years of schooling plus the 4 years of my college. I would learn more than him every off season.
Yeah. Back to ball. You did summer league twice. Utah 3 times. You went to camp or training camp with Utah. Obviously didn't quite make a roster. How was that whole process? And then is that still a goal once the world gets back to how it is of maybe potentially going NBA, or you want to stay in Europe now?
Well, I think with the Utah stuff, my first year I played summer league in Philly. That didn't go great. And then the second year I played in Utah, and I was playing with Dante. He'd just gotten drafted. And I had a pretty good summer league, and After that, they invited me to training camp. They invited, I don't know, I think like 20 people, 24 people total. They invited, including the roster guys, to go to training camp. And a lot of the non roster guys had to sign like a 3-year non-guaranteed thing. Whereas if you don't make the roster at the end, you're stuck with their D-League team. And I didn't sign that. I signed a 1-year non-guaranteed, whereas if I didn't make the team, I was free to leave. And that's how I ended up in Adelaide. And I got down to, I think I was in the 15. And then it was the day before the season started. And I got called into the, GM's office, and they told me, look, we're over the limit. We can't move any more power forward. So we're going to have to release you, and hopefully we can, bring you back in the future. I said, no problem. And then I go back to the hotel, and I saw they'd picked up Joe Ingles. And then so he got the lucky spot there, and he's obviously gone on to have a great career there. And so that's awesome. And
Bloody Ingles took his spot, huh?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was more of a positional thing, but yeah, he definitely took the spot that I was holding at the time, but
Yeah.
he was the position they needed. And obviously he went on to do big things there and was a great fit for them. So after that, that's how that sort of experience went. They told me, go somewhere where we can bring you back, like either the D League, and because the NBL season finished in February, that's how I ended up choosing there. And then obviously with my injury, they sent me a contract at the end of the NBL season to bring me back for a couple of 10 days and to try and finish the season there. But obviously I found out about my injury, and I wasn't able to head back to the States to finish that season there. But I still have the FedEx little contract that they sent in my room, and that's sort of a reminder of how close I was, but wasn't meant to be. And yeah, I'm pretty content over here in Europe at the moment. It's a really high level. I've adjusted my game, and I enjoy playing over here. Obviously, it's always a dream to go to the NBA, and you always want to play at the highest level. I'll continue to do the best I can and keep working over here. And if that opportunity ever came knocking, I would for sure take it. But at the moment, I'm happy where I am.
Tell me how it felt, first of all, to be told that you made the World's 2014 team to go to Spain. That's your first Boomers major tournament that you got selected for?
Yeah, that was huge, man. I'd obviously come off a pretty down year in Italy, and then to be selected in the top, 12 that we went to the World Cup for. That was my first senior men's national representation, and it was huge, to think that when you were growing up, it was obviously your goal that you wanted to play for Australia, and I was about to do that at the World Champs. It was a huge honor.
How nervous were you to perform at rookie night?
I think I performed in a pair with Bairstow, so I think I just thought, okay, I have to do a little bit better than Bairstow and I'll be good. But yeah, I was a bit nervous in front of all the other boys, but yeah, definitely relieved when it was done with.
And then tell me how it felt to get selected for the Rio Olympics. That to me is one of the best feelings I've ever had, was the phone call or in the meeting being told that you're going to an Olympics. How special was that? And then being able to call up and tell your parents that you're going to be an Olympian.
Yeah, I think, like you said, the World Cup is definitely a huge honor, but the Olympics is like another story. It's like, the pinnacle of sports, and to be able to, like yourself, be able to call myself an Olympian, it's something, that you'll be able to tell your kids, grandkids, and, everyone recognized as an Olympian from now until forever. So it was all of those sort of emotions and all of those feelings sort of hit all at once. And yeah, it was an amazing feeling to be selected, and then obviously to go to Rio and play.
Do you have like a favorite moment from that Olympics? I remember the opening ceremony like it was yesterday, and then a couple of games were pretty cool. But do you have anything that kind of stands out from that couple of weeks?
Just, the whole experience, obviously the opening ceremony, being in the Olympic Village around all these different high-level world-class athletes, and then obviously the game. Maybe it's memorable, maybe not for the right reasons, but the Spain game where we lost by 1 for the bronze medal, that was pretty heartbreaking, to be honest. Like I think many people felt, but yeah, to be in that position and to be playing in the semifinals and then to be playing for a medal on the Olympic stage was pretty surreal.
Obviously, this next Olympics is being pushed back a year. That's probably still a goal for you to try and make that team and be a two-time Olympian and try and help that team that you were part of, I guess, try and win a medal at that one?
Yeah, for sure. Anytime you get a chance to represent your country, and especially at Olympics, and I think I'm going to the prime of my career, so I'd want to, have a great year next year, put myself in the best possible position to have a chance at representing my country again at the Olympics.
For sure. So last one I got for you, a little lighthearted one. Now, you love playing a little bit of Fortnite. I know I quite enjoy Fortnite for the fact that I don't talk to mates and stuff on the phone a lot. Usually don't text them. So I probably wouldn't talk to you as much if we weren't on Fortnite playing, because it's just a way to talk shit and catch up and find out what you're doing and when's Martina due and when she's going to have a baby and all that kind of stuff. I really enjoy it for that. Your wife tells me that you enjoy playing because you think it might help your aim playing a shooting game on the court. What do you like? You just like playing it to catch up and talk shit with the boys, or?
Well, 100% it's that. It's like you said, you don't really call people, for 2 hours a day just to catch up, but you're more than happy to play Fortnite for a couple of hours. But yeah, a few. I read a study about doctors and how they like really precision hand-eye coordination, and they recommend to play Xbox or console games to improve their hand-eye coordination. And so I felt, playing Call of Duty and playing Fortnite with the aiming games, I feel like it really helps basketball-wise, like shooting at targets and just aiming in general. And I don't know if that's like another one of those superstitions, but I feel when I don't play for a little bit, okay, I'm not shooting so well, and then I get back on the sticks and I'm back, shoot a couple threes. But yeah, like you said, I just enjoy, playing with you, Teasy, and Doyle. It's a bit of a struggle. I have to put my game down and basically play for all four of us, carry the team and to some wins. But
all I hope is that you shoot on the court a lot better than you do in Fortnite, because oh my goodness, it's not your strong point. Let's be honest.
I'm a team player. If I got to sacrifice myself and they all shoot at me and you guys get to shoot at them, that's my role. Anything the team needs, I got it.
Yeah, look, I definitely feel a lot better about myself knowing that I play the game or play games with that research you've now told me about. So if I ever get questioned about it ever again, I'll be like, well, it's helping my basketball game out, so I need to keep.
Yeah, no, I definitely think it does help. I think, obviously not for the amount we play, but I think, a little bit here and there definitely helps with the aiming. Even if it doesn't actually, it definitely helps my psyche.
It's mental.
Better shooter.
It's all mental. I'm all for it. So, look, I appreciate the chat. We'll get online in about an hour and a half and work on our skills. But thanks for joining me. I know you've probably got a lot of spare time doing nothing, locked up inside. Good luck with the pregnancy and the birth. Hopefully that all goes well and you can get in there and be a part of that whole process without any issues. And yeah, man, look forward to following you along this next little patch and with the Olympics coming on and whatever. But yeah, thanks for joining me, man.
No, thanks a lot, man. Honored to be on Gibbo's podcast.
I like it.
Thanks, man.
All right, brother.
All right, bro. See you soon.